5 minutes with Eric. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I've been quarantining for 6 weeks. It's good to be back in the office. So I get this question all the time, so much that my staff actually asked me to put together a video. We're gonna put it on our website, and every time a client has this question, we'll send them a link. So it involves the world of employment law. So what I like to start by doing is drawing a big circle. So here we are. This is my circle. And this is going to be U.S. workers. So imagine everything outside the circle are non-U.S. workers. So obviously I'm a U.S. lawyer, I'm barred in 5 states, and so I can advise on U.S. law. If you have an international question, we can look at that, and sometimes we know the answer, but let's focus on inside the circle. And so these are people that will work for your company. Now let's make a dividing line right here. Now I'm gonna make it fuzzy for a reason. Now on this side of the dividing line, we've got a couple different names for it. 1099, independent contractor, I've heard freelance, especially in the arts and entertainment. All right, so on this side of the line, we've got independent contractors. And what does that mean? These are people you hire. Now, the IRS, now I'm gonna write IRS right down here on the line. The IRS gets involved because the way that you as an employer, as a company, treat these people for taxes is completely different than the people on this side of the line. So let's write what those people are. Those people are called employees. Also, you can hear them as W-2. W-2 is the tax form. 1099 is the tax form. So the IRS gets involved because you as a company are going to do a lot of things with taxes, with withholding. You're responsible for a lot more than on this side. In fact, that's why companies play games here. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't real things called independent contractors, but what I'm saying is where a company will play games is they'll have a worker. The worker should probably be considered an employee, but what they'll do is they'll say, hey, you're going to be an independent contractor. In fact, I'll even write a contract for you, calling it an independent contractor. And at the end of the year, I'm not going to take out any taxes. I'm going to give you a Form 1099, and you're on your own for all the tax obligations. And what do they really save? Well, they save about 7.5% in employment taxes, plus they save all the withholding responsibilities, plus they save the reporting obligations to the IRS, the 940, 941. Those are 2 other forms that the company's gonna have to fill out. And so basically the company can try and save some money, like I said, 7.5% minimum, just by playing this game, okay? The Department of Labor gets involved, sometimes the employees themselves. Now the IRS, because they're very concerned about the tax issue, has come up with a 20-factor test, such as who makes the schedule, who brings the tools, who has permission to take time off, right? So if I have somebody who works for me, but they have to be at the desk for 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I make the schedule, I'm their boss, that's probably an employee. If it's like, hey, I'm gonna hire you to design my website, but you can do it whenever you want, just have it done in the next 2 months, I'm going to pay you as an independent contractor, that's probably correct. That's probably an independent contractor. So what I like to say down here is, who is the boss? If I'm the company and I'm the boss, you're an employee. If I'm the company but you're the boss, then you work for yourself, you're an independent contractor. Okay, now again, 20-factor test. Every state has some variation. Florida has a 10-factor test. So let's say that we're pretty sure that we're dealing with an employee, right? I use the example all the time. I actually had this lawsuit. It was a arts and entertainment type business, and they had somebody whose job it was to sit at the front desk and answer the phone and get coffee for guests, okay? We call that a receptionist or an assistant or a secretary, whatever you want to call it. It sounds like an employee. And they were like, no, she's a freelancer. She's a freelancer. And I was like, no, you guys are actually, what you're really doing is you're screwing over that poor employee because you're not paying that 7.5%, which is the contribution for federal unemployment, Medicare, and Social Security. All right. So then there's a second dividing line over here. And this one is between hourly and salary. So I'm going to break it down for you. Every employee is hourly unless you fit into one of a few very limited exceptions. So you can't say to the person whose job it is to answer the phone and get coffee, hey, I'm just going to pay you a salary. Because what you're really saying is I'm not going to pay you overtime. What you're really saying is if you work 41 hours, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to pay you anymore. Because remember, overtime is based on a 40-hour week. So, and it's not, by the way, it's not a pay period. So if you do a pay period every 2 weeks, it's not based on an 80-hour pay period. No, it's based on a 40-hour week. So if in week 1 you work 41 hours, but in week 2 you work 39, even though that adds up to 80, you still get 1 hour of overtime for week 1. Now, remember this, hourly is everybody. Salary is the exception. So there's 3 exceptions. Professionals. I can make lawyers work a salary. I can make them work 1,000 hours a week. Then you've got admin. Now what that means is persons who are in charge of the administration of the organization, hiring and firing. And lastly, you've got executives. Now the IRS doesn't really care because they're getting all their taxes one way or the other. What people who care are the Department of Labor and the actual employees themselves who are getting screwed out of overtime. So I'm obviously simplifying a very complicated situation, but just remember this. In the world of US workers, we're going to have 3 categories. Independent contractors who are their own boss, hourly employees who are everybody who's an employee, or the 3 exceptions to people who are allowed to be paid a salary. Obviously, lots to unwrap there. Give me a call, Eric Gros-Dubois, EPGD Attorneys at Law.